after major backlash over what she had to say about Venus and Serena Williams at an awards show last night. We're going to explain why and get into all of that a little bit later on. But first, it's time to get the backstory, our behind-the-scenes look at how a story comes together and how it fits into our bigger picture. Tonight, we're talking Russian disinformation, how it's spread and even embraced by conspiracy theorists and some in right-wing media. The day that the Russian invasion of Ukraine happened, this Twitter account that's now banned, that had been previously linked to QAnon, started spreading this disinformation about what you're seeing on screen, U.S. biolabs. Disinformation that was repeated by the far right. Tucker Carlson of Fox News led his show with this lie last week. Watch.
You mean secret biolabs? Like the secret biolabs Ukraine definitely doesn't have? Ukraine has those? Yes, it does.
The State Department confirmed about public health bio-research in Ukraine. It's even on the embassy's website. But critics say Carlson and other right-wing media folks keep spreading the lie. The U.S. funded this bioweapons research in Ukraine, right? This is an effort that critics say plays right into Russia's hand. State-controlled media now using Carlson in their own disinformation campaign, and Putin using this lie to help justify the invasion of the country, something he had not mentioned until the conspiracy theories went wild. Ben Collins joins us now to tell us how he and his colleague, our colleague, Kevin Collier, managed to track this story basically back to its roots. So Ben, we know you've come on this show before and you've talked about disinformation and misinformation spreading online. It moves fast, right? Start from the beginning. Take us through your reporter's notebook, which I'm sure is online. But how did you find out where it came from? What was the origin of the story for you? I know you spent almost all of last week living in this.
Yeah, sure. So I talked to two very reliable data companies that sort of use the fire hoses of the far-right internet. They kind of scrape the back ends of these far-right websites, sites like Gab or Rumble or whatever, and they try to find out where narratives took hold and when they started to take hold. And both of them had these really jarring charts. One was from Signal Labs, the other one was from Pira, and both of them showed the same thing. This didn't exist. The biolabs in Ukraine conspiracy theory, this didn't exist until the day of the invasion. Straight up, people were talking about it, a couple posts a day, and then hundreds or thousands on the day of the invasion. And why is that? It's because of this chart that you see right here. It was from this QAnon account called War Clandestine that was taken off of Twitter because it was evading bans from QAnon. But what is the deal with that specific map, right?
Can we go back to that map?
Yeah, sure. Let's go back to that. So where did that come from? That's a really specific map,
right? Yeah, right.
U.S. biolabs in Ukraine. So if you look back through time to see where it came from an anti-vaxxer on Gab from 8 days prior, back when no one else was talking about biolabs in Ukraine. And that includes the Russians. The Russians were talking about this as pretext to invade Ukraine. So that's how narrow this is. This is how small it was until they were looking for a secondary pretext to the invasion. Because what they realized is this denazification thing wasn't working in the United States. It wasn't working with their far-right partners all throughout the world. So the Russians started looking for a second thing, and they found it in a narrative pushed by English language media.
So to be clear, let me just make sure that I'm understanding this distinction that our viewers get it too. There's public health research happening in Ukraine. It is not about secret biologically engineered weapons, right? That's kind of what this comes down to?
And it's also, they've made it even dumber, Hallie, the Russians, because they said that not only are they making these things, but they say it's targeting Russians specifically, and it's being flown over from birds from the labs to Russia and targeting Russians specifically.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait. Nope. Sorry. So birds, like animal birds, are flying weapons that have been biologically made in Ukraine, specifically over the border into Russia to infect Russians. That's this conspiracy theory.
That's the conspiracy theory. And if you are from the QAnon circles or the American circles, you get to involve all your favorite characters. For the last few years, they've been saying Vladimir Putin couldn't possibly be that bad of a guy. And now they're faced with all of these images of, children dying in the street, being shelled. Horror, true horror that you can't deny with your own eyes. But when you include the biolab stuff, all the bad guys from the past few years come back. Anthony Fauci, Hunter Biden, all of these people. You can start blaming the people you're comfortable blaming instead of, introducing a new bad guy that you were told was a good guy over the last few years.
So this is a ball of conspiracy yarn, Ben. How do you know where to start tugging, right? How do you unravel it when you have this information in front of you?
The good news with these websites is that they still allow you to scrape their data, and these companies exist to do that, right? So that's the really useful thing. The data doesn't lie here. It shows a really dramatic increase on the day of the invasion. So that's the really helpful thing. And then once you're there, you can use those elements from those big posts, the posts that went wild, the QAnon posts. You can say, like, where did that actual map come from? Where did that picture come from? You can go back in time using OSINT methods, like, you know, just reverse image search, stuff like that too, basic stuff. And you can try to find the first instance of that. That's the easiest way to find out where these narratives started, is use a lot of data and then work backwards from there.
One thing that I really appreciate about you, the many things that we appreciate about you here on the show, is that you have a great way of laying out, I think online, if folks don't follow you on Twitter, they should, laying out like what you're finding in your stories and how you get there. Do you ever get pushback from some of these conspiracy theorists who are living in this online world? Like, is Ben Collins a dreaded name in these? Is it like, are you like Voldemort in these circles when stuff comes out?
Yeah, man. I am all sorts of bad guy stuff in their spaces. You know, they say I have, like, there was like a term about my eyes that said I was like the devil because you could see it in my eyeball. It was kind of cool, to be honest with you. It's like, as a guy from Salem, Massachusetts, to be in league with the witches, it was an honor.
Ben Collins, man. Listen, you're doing yeoman's work out there. Thank you very much for living in the disinformation swamps and shining a light on some of this stuff. We appreciate it. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Al.
We just got access to this video of what looks like an extraordinary protest during one of the main news shows in Russia. I want to show this to you. And again, this is just coming into us. Look at that sign. Do you see what happens? This woman walks in. She's an